Alrighty, folks. So apparently there is a list going around of the best performances of the 21st century. And Matt Walsh, my quasi friend, has done an analysis. We're going to take a look, and then we will analyze his analysis.
The Ringer has compiled a list of the 101 best movie performances of the 21st century. We're not going to go through all 101, but let's take a look at the Ringer's top 10 performances of the 21st century. Anytime you see a list like this, you expect it to be terrible, but let's see what they come up with. Going from 10 to 1, 10 is Kirsten Dunst in Melancholia, 9 is Joaquin Phoenix in The Master, 8 is Jesse Eisenberg in Social Network, 7, Denzel Washington in Training Day, 6, Heath Ledger in Dark Knight, 5, Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men, 4, Cate Blanchett in Tar, 3, Philip Seymour Hoffman in The Master, 2, Daniel Day-Lewis, There Will Be Blood, and then 1, Naomi Watts in Mulholland Drive. But I have to say, it's not a terrible list. But even so, I feel very confident when I say that Daniel Day-Lewis should be number one. His performance in There Will Be Blood is just it's a towering artistic achievement. It's one of the great film performances of all time. So let me just briefly correct the record by giving the accurate top 10 list. Top 10 screen performances of this century. Number 1, as already established, Daniel Day-Lewis, There Will Be Blood. 2, I'd put Philip Seymour Hoffman. He was brilliant in The Master, but I think his performance in Capote was on a level even above that one. One of the most nuanced and layered performances you'll ever see in a movie. And I know I sound like a pretentious douchebag saying that. It was a nuanced and layered performance. Number 3, I'd say Javier Bardem in No Country for Old Men. I think the Ringer was right to rank, and this was controversial, but they ranked Javier Bardem above Heath Ledger. I do think Heath Ledger's performance was great and iconic, even if the film that he was in is one of the most overrated things ever to exist on the planet. Number 4, I'd probably say Ryan Gosling should be on the list. Probably his role in Blue Valentine should be. It was an absolutely fantastic performance. I hated the movie because it's just too dark and bleak and depressing. Like, it's one of the movies you walk away from it, you'll be depressed for the next 3.5 weeks from watching it.
Okay, so initial thoughts. So he is more right than he is wrong. I agree with him that Daniel Day-Lewis in There'll Be Blood should be number 1. But then also I would put Daniel Day-Lewis in Gangs of New York at number 2 because Daniel Day-Lewis is just so much better than anyone else who's working. He's just unbelievable. Philip Seymour Hoffman, he's right about that in Capote. But Philip Seymour Hoffman, the thing about Philip Seymour Hoffman is you can basically pick any of his films and he is just unbelievably versatile. I mean, he can play like an incredible, insulting, awful douchebag, or he can play somebody incredibly sympathetic. He's just, Philip Seymour Hoffman is a great tragedy, obviously. Javier Bardem does not make my top 10. And the reason Javier Bardem does not make my top 10 is not through any fault of Javier Bardem. It's a good performance, but it's one note. I mean, it's one note over and over. Now, granted, it's a very good note, but it's not as though there's any sort of versatility to the performance. You're not experiencing highs and lows because of that character, right? I mean, he's just the foreboding presence of death throughout that film. There's really no kind of emotional valence to the performance at all. He also puts Ryan Gosling on the list. I don't think Ryan Gosling is one of our top 7 working actors. He's right that Blue Valentine is difficult to watch and irritating in the same way as sort of A Marriage Story is difficult to watch and irritating.
So maybe that role, or First Man. You know, I think First Man is one of the most underrated.
He is great in First Man. That's a good call. That's a good call. Yeah, case for Ryan Gosling in First Man. Again, I'm not sure it makes the top 10, but it certainly makes the top 15.
5, I'd say Joaquin Phoenix has to be on the list. Probably he was great in The Master, but I'd probably put his performance in the movie Her, because he plays a guy who falls in love with essentially AI. He falls in love with an operating system. He falls in love with Siri, basically.
This is a good call by Matt here. I will say that if you're going to do a kind of one-man show performance, Tom Hardy in Locke would be a really good pick here, where the entire movie, it's an hour and a half of him just in the car talking on the phone. And it's tremendous. I mean, Tom Hardy is truly a great actor, really, really good in everything.
Number 6, I think J.K. Simmons in Whiplash should have been on the list.
That's a good call. Yep.
I watched that movie again recently. If you haven't seen Whiplash, it's a movie about a drummer in a jazz band. And I hate jazz. I can't stand it. I think it's the second worst genre of music, second only to mariachi music.
Rap, dude?
And I don't care about drumming, really. And yet, the film is mesmerizing. It's a film about a drummer in a jazz band, and it's an edge-of-your-seat thriller, really. And that's thanks in large part to Simmons' performance. Number 7, I'd say Heath Ledger in Dark Knight. Number 8, Russell Crowe. Probably Russell Crowe in Gladiator. You know, it's 2000, I think, so I guess that counts as this century. And then 9 and 10, 9, I'd probably say Jim Carrey in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
Matt, Jim Carrey, I just can't put Jim Carrey in our list of great dramatic actors and tremendous comedic performance. I think he gets affirmative action points because sometimes comedy stars get affirmative action points in movies that are pseudo-serious. You get this from Adam Sandler in Uncut Gems. You got this from Robin Williams for years. I don't think Jim Carrey belongs on that list. Here's some other people who could go on the list. Again, I don't think Matt's list is bad by any stretch of the imagination, actually. I think many of the picks that he's making here are correct. Here are some alternatives. Viggo Mortensen in Eastern Promises. Truly tremendous performance. Great movie. Eastern Promises is a better movie than many of the movies that get mentioned here. And so maybe Viggo Mortensen is getting upticks here, but he's really great in that. Leonardo DiCaprio is not on the Ringer list. I'm not generally a huge Leonardo DiCaprio fan. I think his performance in Wolf of Wall Street is great. Now, again, it's more one note, but it is a good performance by DiCaprio. As I mentioned, Day-Lewis, you could put Daniel Day-Lewis in Phantom Thread. You could put him in Gangs of New York. You could put him in There Will Be Blood. Like, every Daniel Day-Lewis performance is just spectacular. Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Right? I think Matt would probably have to revise his list after hearing me say that and probably agree with me that Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder is one of the great comedic performances of all time. It really is fantastic. Andy Serkis as Gollum. So I know a lot of people are going to say no on that because of the CGI. But when you actually watch the behind the scenes as to what Andy Serkis had to do with his voice, what he had to do with his body, like they basically put him in a bodysuit with a bunch of electrodes attached to him and mapped his body movements to the character. And it's a great performance by Andy Serkis. We'll get to more on this in a moment. First, I always assumed restless sleep was, just inevitable. Tossing, turning, waking up with a bad back. I just figured as I got older, that's what sleep was going to be. And then I tried Helix Sleep and everything changed. It's been transformative for my sleep quality. Now I easily fall asleep in minutes, even when, the news is relatively distracting or disturbing. What makes Helix different? They don't just sell you a random mattress. They actually match you with the perfect one for your body and sleep style. Whether you're a side sleeper, back sleeper, somewhere in between, they've got you covered. They make it so simple to get your best night's sleep every night. All you have to do is take their sleep quiz and get matched with a custom mattress based on your body type and sleep preferences. And trust me, when you find that right match, no wonder how you ever slept on anything else. And I have the firm but breathable mattress, which is exactly what I need because otherwise I get the bad back. Right now, Helix is offering an incredible Labor Day extended sale. Visit helixsleep.com/Ben. Get 25% off site-wide. That's helixsleep.com/Ben for 25% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name after checkout so they know we sent you. Again, just visit helixsleep.com/Ben for this exclusive offer. That's helixsleep.com/Ben. The Lives of Others, there's an actor named Ulrich Mew who plays the lead in The Lives of Others, and it is a phenomenal performance. A really, really good, moving, interesting performance. Gary Oldman in Darkest Hour. Gary Oldman's great in everything. Very difficult to pick out like the singular Gary Oldman performance, but he's great in Darkest Hour as Churchill. Here's one that people are going to laugh at, but actually you should watch the movie. So the movie Downfall is a great movie. It's a movie about the last days of Hitler. And obviously you all know it from the memery, right? So Bruno Ganz plays Hitler. And you all know the memes where Hitler is giving a speech where he goes crazy on his generals. The performance is truly an amazing performance in Downfall. Okay, Sandra Hüller. I'm going to give her for two performances because you don't understand how good one performance is until you see the other performance the same year. So she's in both Anatomy of a Fall and The Zone of Interest. This was last year. Totally different parts, completely different parts. And she is absolutely convincing in both, just tremendous. Jake Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler. I'm not a Jake Gyllenhaal guy, but I think that Gyllenhaal in Nightcrawler really delivers the goods. He's terrific. Christian Bale, again, I have a hard time picking the Christian Bale movie, but he does hold down 3 Batman movies, and he is the main character, and he does have to somehow make you believe that he is a person who dons a bat suit and goes out and fights crime and somehow give it an underlying power. So Christian Bale and Batman. And then there's a movie from 2001 called In the Bedroom, which is a really good movie about tragedy where Sissy Spacek plays the mother of a child who's died, and she's great. Sissy Spacek, very underrated actress. Okay, so I'm not putting those in order the way that Matt did. And again, I don't think Matt's list is bad by any stretch of the imagination.
And then finally, number 10, I'd say, Hugh Jackman in Prisoners.
Oh, that. That's ridiculous. Hugh Jackman doesn't go on any Best Actor list. Nope.